Closed-door briefings are fine, but the administration has to make its case to the American people as something as important as this.
This turtle-ass bitch, Chuck Schumer, the so-called leader of the Senate Democrats, told the press last night when asked about potential strikes on Iran, Trump potentially starting a war with Iran, that his answer, rather than no, absolutely not, absolutely no war with Iran, you have no right to start a war with Iran, his response was, Trump just needs to make his case to the American people. This is your opposition party, folks. And you know what's funny is how he goes, the problem isn't starting a war with Iran, which he has no right to do, like a warmongering psycho, somebody that we say is a dictator that we don't trust, but we're going to be fine with him starting a war with Iran. No, that's not the problem. The problem is, we just need him to make his case, which they're also totally full of shit on. They don't actually care if he makes his case. They don't even want to vote. And DNC dick riders will be like, that's not a fair thing to say. Isn't it, though? New reporting just came out that said that top Democrats are working behind the scenes to stop a vote, the Kana and Massey War Powers Resolution, a vote that would force every member of Congress to go on the record over Trump's potential regime change war with Iran. You got that? So the leaders of the opposition party in the House and the Senate, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, are not working behind the scenes to try to prevent an illegal, offensive, psychotic regime change war with Iran run by our wannabe dictator, wannabe king, psychotic, dementia-ridden president. No, they're not working behind the scenes to try to stop it. They're working behind the scenes to try to stop a vote on it. Yeah. They want to stop a vote on it because they don't want people to have to go on the record because they agree. Shout out to Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey for introducing this because, apparently they're the only ones who actually do anything in Congress. They introduced the War Powers Resolution because Congress, constitutionally, are the ones that can declare war, not the fucking imperial president. And the opposition party leaders are working behind the scenes to stop it. Stop the vote, not the war. Please, just think about how insane that is. That the so-called opposition party is working behind the scenes to stop accountability. That is what they're trying to stop. They are trying to stop a vote that would force them to go on the record saying whether or not they support Trump, the same president that they say is an imperial president, the same president that they say is a threat to democracy, is trying to steal the midterms, is a dictator, is a fascist. That same president that they're saying that we should all be so scared of, they are actively working behind the scenes to give him more power because that is exactly what this is. It is Congress that has the power to declare war. And Kana and Massey are trying to get a vote to get them on the record, just like they all were for the Iraq War, and it haunted them for years. Are you going to support this president taking us to a regime change war with Iran where a bunch of Americans are going to likely die for the Israeli regime's regime change war? Because let's just be clear about who this is on behalf of. And they're working behind the scenes to stop a vote that would force them to go on the record saying whether or not they support it. What other reason would you do that other than you want to shield yourselves and your own party from accountability because they know how bad it looks? They know that if they come out there and go, oh, Trump is a dictator, Trump is a fascist, we're against the Iran war, we're against going to a regime change war. They want to be able to have that rhetoric. They want to be able to pretend that they're in opposition to the Trump administration. They want to pretend like they're fighting against Trump, but they don't actually want to fight against Trump. They want him to be able to start a regime change war with Iran. They don't want to have to vote on it. They don't want to actually have to exercise their constitutional duties. And this is what we mean when we say the president being a fascist dictator is not something that just happens in a vacuum. It happens at every step of the way with fascist collaborators. Congress could rein him in, just like they've been able to rein him in many times. They choose not to. And when you think about what their problem is with what he is doing, it's not actually the fact that he wants to do a regime change war in Iran, which would be disastrous on levels that we haven't even contemplated. No, they're not even upset about that. They're upset about allegedly upset about the process. Just like with Venezuela. They didn't actually mind that they did a coup in Venezuela and kidnapped the president. No, he was upset at the process. That's why he was meeting with their opposition president like 5 minutes later. They were like, oh, sure, they're trying to destabilize Venezuela and kidnap the leader, but they should have come to us first. I don't mind that they did, but they should have come to us first. And by the way, nobody should be surprised by this because this Zionist lunatic, actually opposed the Obama administration the entire time they were working on passing the JCPOA and the Iran deal back in 2014 and 2015. He never tried to push for them to get back in the deal once Biden took office because all of them were Zionist lunatics that actually agreed with Trump pulling out of it. Unless you think this is just a Chuck Schumer or even a Hakeem Jeffries thing, and shortly the progressives like Senator Elizabeth Warren and John Ossoff will oppose that, oh, you would be wrong. Here's them literally giving him a standing ovation as he's warmongering over Iran last night.
But we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference. My preference is to...
I want you to ask yourself something. If they really thought that he was a madman who's a danger to democracy, why are they giving him a standing ovation as he warmongers? Those don't look like people that are concerned about a lawless president. Elizabeth Warren, who's supposed to be one of the most progressive people in the Senate. What a joke. Liz, you're never beating the snake allegations. If you're finding yourself on the same page as John Fetterman when it comes to Iran, shit's gone really wrong. Just go on Twitter and type in John Fetterman, Iran, and what you'll find is an endless stream, psychotic, deranged, warmongering posts of him talking about how we should go to war with Iran and do regime change. Endless posts, indistinguishable from neocon lunatic Zionists like Mark Levin, about how actually America should go and fight a regime change war with Iran on behalf of the Israeli regime, and America should pay for it, and America's kids should die for it. And my question is, John, which son? Which son, John? I would like to know, since you are so passionate about starting a regime change war with Iran, where America will spend trillions of taxpayer dollars and American lives to go fight this war for Israel, I'd like to know which son. I'm assuming, you're a traditional man, it won't be your daughter. Which one of your sons would you like to send to war with Iran to die for Israel? Can you tell us? See, but of course he's not going to do that, because rich men don't send their kids to war. They send your kids to die for their profits and their interests. But if you're planning on enlisting in the U.S. military, just remember who you're fighting for. Don't be deceived or under some impression like during the Iraq War that this was for liberty and freedom and to avenge 9/11 survivors. No. Let's be super clear-eyed about what this is for. Should you enlist and go fight a war on behalf of the Israeli regime and for the rich elites in this country and the special interests and corporations here and around the globe?